Welcome to another episode of the Global Green Action Project, a place where we get to meet amazing heroes doing great changes in the world to make it a more compassionate, kinder place through humanitarian, animal, and environmental initiatives. I'm your host, Jennifer, and today we get to meet another amazing guest speaker. Her name is Annie Hardock. She is an incredible math educator who owns her own private math school for children called Easy Math for Kids. And she is also an international best-selling author amongst many other incredible qualifications. I like to talk about brain health in terms of how learning these skills can help us in terms of our future. So brain health immediate, but it's also very, very beneficial for the future, isn't it?
Well, I'm not the scientist like or neuroscientist, but what I knew is that the children, they built knots of the neural network in their brain during the brain child like development. That's why like up to the age of 12 and everyone started losing these synapses. So I use the analogy of like how a brain network you compare with in the old days. Some of the parents might know that we call the dial-up access to get to the internet, which is using the phone line, right? You dial and then you wait for it to connect, and then very few information, like only bits of information can move around like between like the two destination, right? So it's slow, it's a slow network. But now we have fiber optic network and it's a very dense network, everything connected. So the response time is really fast. So if we can help your child to develop that dense network in their brain. So even though everyone started to lose some of these trimming of these synapses, like, self, we have a lot of the reserve, and it helps them to still continue having a strong network to learn other things that they need throughout their life, right? Yes. So that's our goal, is prepare them, prime their brain to be like responsive, and then also like using a lot of the neural network that help it stronger once you have that pathway. So actually practice, repetition is important to build that strong network. I think sometimes like that's the part that today's children has problem is about like keeping the focus and doing repetitive like work, right? Like because they would start, oh, it's boring, like, I think now you can say, how do you keep your child engaged? Because these days there's so many different things that's stimulating, and on social media now the time for all these like 30-second like video, even video, it's like they want just 30-second, because that's how people losing that ability to focus. And like what I've been training children is training the focus. We started off like from like, say they might be able to just do 2 or 4 numbers, but then gradually like 7 numbers or more complicated. So it's more complicated questions to finish. So the duration may be a couple minutes of engagement, right? And then longer and longer. That's neat training. They don't just jump and then say, oh, they can be focused and for 5 minutes without, getting distracted. That comes with practice, and that's what the part of the training is. I think we even adults need to be trained now. with losing focus is one of the things that when we age also start that. I think lots of parents might too, like we have so many on our plate, right? So throughout the day, and how do you keep your focus? And that's what we trained the mental math is. It really required focus in order to do the question properly. And we wanted to do it in a way that is mindful and that is relaxing without stress. And that's what our goal is to help. Yes.
I again love the way we bring it back to that importance of mindfulness in a day that the day that we're living in is so busy. It's filled with so much busy. And you've pointed out there is science that shows that as a result of that busy, our focus is no longer what it used to be. And when we tie it back to self-care, wellness, And not just immediate wellness, but long term wellness. We really need to look at these areas of brain health. And it starts with teaching ourselves, teaching our children how to focus. And that can go a long way in terms of keeping the brain healthy, which is the control center of our bodies.
Yeah, I know you teach us meditation. You know, how many adults even be able to sit quietly, right, and do the meditation? And there are different forms of meditation. And I have done moving meditations, like exercising and while meditating. And what I wanted to tell parents is that this method of doing math in their mind is like a meditation. It's we get them to a point of emotional state that when they are anxious, like too, they cannot do mental math. So in order to get them to the state of doing mental math, that's similar to what we're trying to do to a meditative state. All right.
Powerful stuff. And, we often think, when we think mindfulness, a lot of people have that misconception and they think mindfulness is strictly just sitting with your hands in a certain position and just breathing or visualizing as well. But ultimately, mindfulness comes in various forms. And you've just demonstrated how we can integrate it into a classroom, integrate it into learning lessons
Mhm.
and different subjects that we might perceive as hard. Math doesn't need to be hard when we make it fun and when we tie mindfulness into it.
Yeah.
That's very empowering. So thank you for that.